Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lainey Castle, and I'm the Latino Americans Project Director in the LA Public Office. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on hosting a scholar-led film screening and discussion. I hope this session will help you think more about how to plan and promote your program, develop engaging discussion questions, facilitate audience participation, and navigate basic logistics for a special event. Before I move ahead, a few words about online classroom conduct. First, use the instant message feature to pose technical questions. If you are experiencing difficulties, you should send a private message to our classroom administrator, Samantha Oakley. Just mouse over her name at the left of your screen and select Send Private Message, and she can help you. Only presenters have access to a microphone. Session attendees may use the chat box to communicate in the class. Next, we expect today's presentations to run about 30 minutes total. Have at least 15 minutes for a Q&A session after the presentations wrap up. In the program On Track, we ask that you save your questions for the presenters until the end. And finally, if you experience technical difficulties during the session, don't panic. We are recording the complete presentation to be available shortly after the session for download later this week. The session is part of Latino Americans, 500 Years of History, a project of the National Endowment for the conducted in cooperation with the ALA Public Programs Office. We are extremely grateful to anyone developing and supporting this initiative, as well as for their ongoing generous support of libraries and their community partners. As many of you know, the Public Programs Office exists to link libraries, communities, and culture for programming grants, professional development opportunities, and other resources to programming librarians from all types of libraries. November 6th, PPO is accepting applications for Native Voices, Native Peoples' Concepts of Health and Illness. This is a traveling exhibition that explores the interconnectedness of wellness, illness, and cultural life for Native Americans, Alaska Natives, Native Hawaiians. To apply, go to apply.ala.org/Native Voices. Now we'd like to gather just a bit of information about who we have with us this afternoon. Using the poll on screen right now, would you please sort of institution you represent? Let us know if you're from a public library, academic or community college library, academic institution, state humanities council, arts and cultural organization, museum or historical society, or another type of organization, and we'll give that just a moment to come through. Looks like we're pretty evenly divided between public libraries and community college libraries. Great. So I am going to introduce our presenters now. First, we're going to hear Holtslander. Linda is the Programming Division Manager for the Loudoun County Public Library in Virginia. She holds an MLS from the University of California at Berkeley and a BA in Journalism from University of the Americas. She has been an adjunct professor at State University and at the University of California. Linda was also a research Fulbright Scholar to Helsinki, Finland, 2009-2010, where she worked with the Helsinki City Library and their Next Library initiative. She has been a valued Public Programs Office on several initiatives, and we're thankful that she's here to share her considerable expertise with us again today. Programming from the librarian's perspective, we'll hear from Linda's wonderful LA 500 scholar, James Baer. Dr. Baer is a professor at the Alexandria campus of Northern Virginia Community College, as well as senior research fellow at the Council for Hemispheric Affairs in D.C. He received a fellowship for college teachers from the National Endowment for the Humanities, served as the Virginia Wealth Professor, and was awarded the Harold Eugene Davis Prize for Best Article by the Mid-Atlantic Council on Latin American Studies. Grateful that these speakers are willing to join us and share their advice and experiences with us. So without further ado, I will hand the microphone over to Linda.
Congratulations on receiving the National Endowment for the Humanities in the American Library Association grant, Latino Americans of History. We have been asked to share with you the process of presenting scholar-led viewing and discussion programs at your library. Loudoun County Public Library has had the opportunity to present many of the ALA NEH series, and I assure you that the Americans will be a worthwhile experience. For all of those involved, it is a winning situation. The library reinforces its role as a site of continuing education. Your scholar has a unique and different audience, and for those taking part, it is indeed an opportunity to bring their individual life experiences to the discussion. Good preparation is the cornerstone of having a successful program. You must believe in the value of the humanities programs and that they can work at your library. And enthusiasm are really vital to the success of what you do. Look for every opportunity to tell your colleagues about the program. If you have a system with numerous branches, make sure that there is a contact at each branch that can help you spread the word to other staff. You must have the support of the administrative staff and your board too. Ask to do a short overview of the series at a trustees meeting and make sure your director goes to her Rotary meeting prepared to tell them about this opportunity. Since ALA and NEH have generously assisted, you may wish to consider your friends group for refreshments and other items you might need to make the program great. Remember, they get thanked too. Please take time to carefully consider what you need for the viewing and discussion program. Err on the side of being over-prepared. Please ask and be able to answer, what are your library's goals and objectives in this series? Does it fit in your strategic plan, in your mission? What programs are you currently offered that the series matches or support? And print resources that you have. Are there staff that can and would enjoy being part of your program too? Is your administration, and if you have partnerships, are they prepared to help you with the series? You know your community best. Have you thought out of the box about the residents and what would they be interested in the series? What is your goal in offering the humanities program? A former NEH officer said, program activities centered on the humanities gives ordinary citizens the opportunity to share ideas and clear that ideas make a positive difference in the lives of people. And I believe that is absolutely the truth. A well-chosen group of people can make a difference in the success of your program. In selecting members in community to directly participate with you, you can generate additional enthusiasm and help build an audience. Once again, your staff will bring another opportunity for marketing and building support. Your friends group can assist with commitment and contacts. People live a busy life, so remember that don't be afraid to ask again. I always have to do this, and I know it's difficult, but you know, someone may have mentioned that they can have a friend that would be really, really interested in the series, and they think they have some friends too. So send that very unique phone call that we don't get anymore and let them know that the series is beginning this week. This may be the first time you have presented a series like this, but I know it won't be the last. You need all of these groups to give life to the programming. Visibility of the program, a solid core of community partnerships are necessary. This is the first time or the 20th time that you've presented a program from ALA. You need to ensure that you have a group of supporters of promotion. For all of the NH programs we have presented, we have partnered with the educational institutes in the community. Look for colleagues that they have that can assist you with direct contact to the students that they see on a daily basis. And the social science and global studies in your high school. For every NEH program we have presented, they have offered continuing education units to their teacher. I have the program information early, and a flyer is emailed to the supervisor of the division. In fact, he gets this flyer once, and he follows up with distribution. The participants have to attend all discussion sessions with a scholar and fill out the required form. We have formed a partnership with the Northern Virginia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for this series. This new collaboration is paying off in many ways as we prepare to open next fall a branch in the community where 80% of the residents are Latinos. While the focus is on viewing and discussion series, don't forget the themes that you will be presenting and how these partners can contribute to them too. To help your audience remember the program, it is best to hold the program on the same day of the week and regularly. The length of the program must allow for the showing of the film, a break, and discussion. Try to pick a time that will work for your target. If it is retirees, they might prefer a daytime program, while working adults prefer the evening. Look at the attendance at the location where you will be offering program, even if the presentation is unrelated in the scope of its themes. Are they more successful at the beginning of the week and later in the week? If you can ascertain what area competitions there might be, then you will win the blue ribbon for programming. But where will you have the program? I continue to offer our series in our libraries because it establishes Loudoun County Public Library as a cultural and learning center. Others may have developed a partnership where the scholar and the librarian will be offering the series at another location. Off-site is good, but I believe you must find a way to bring the audience back to your facility, the library. All of us come to the scholar who will lead the series in various ways. I am sure that this individual will be the perfect person for the series. I have scholars with expertise in the areas of the Civil War, Muslim studies, Vietnam, and more. Thank you to NEH and ALA for helping to develop these rewarding relationships. Your scholar will have a back to the series, experience with an adult audience, and a real interest in the subject matter beyond the preparation of the material. Should be prepared for stimulating conversations with many points of view. It is important that your participants are comfortable in the environment and that they develop a trust in the process in which they discuss their ideas. People will stay when the program ends. They share other ideas with the scholar. Be prepared. It can be some of the best conversations for both the attendees and for the scholar. Your library is a friendly and familiar place where people feel comfortable both with the staff and that have been presented in the past. Your library is a place where people have turned often for the discussion of ideas. Have a conversation about the series. Someone always gives you a link to another person or group in the community that would be interested in participating. Think to attract to the series. Everyone and anyone might be the answer, although sometimes you see a specific profile that is very and important to the series. Check with your scholar on the size that will work for the program. Do you want sign up? Do you want to have a specific number of participants? What are you telling people about the humanities program? This is the perfect time to have the customer reimagine the role of the library in the community. Look for opportunities to invite all those book discussion groups to attend. We have 50 a month. People generally come to those presentations with an interest in listening and a lot of interest in sharing their thoughts. Market to those individuals too. Don't underestimate print. I have 50 copies of our library magazine, which highlight my car, just in case. And once again, be sure and share the series information with teachers. If you can make arrangements with them for the CEU, it will really, really pay off. For the viewing and discussion program is critical. We have a series right now that is also from ALA on Lincoln. And we offered our first author program last night and had problem with the AV. And this morning we had up to this program for the schools, and we had problem with the AV. So this is very critical to the particular presentation of this type of series. Make sure you check several times about the working capacity of the system, and if you can arrange it, on site who are pros and can troubleshoot for you. Plan the event so that your scholar is there in plenty of time. It is helpful to have us there as people arrive. Greet them. It sets a really great tone to the evening. You will be the one presumably to introduce and the series. If your library director would like to give the introduction, they will probably wish you to prepare the statement for them. So now please use your nation. You are at the Cascades branch of the Loudoun County Public Library on an unusually warm November evening. 32 people have arrived, your scholar is there, and the AV branch specialist, yay, has set up the film. The Friends of the Library have donated funds and the program participants are looking for seats and taking coffee and slices of tres leche cake. That's really good. There are flyers on the table, future 500-year programming, and a thank you to the Salvadorian bakery that supplied the cake. There are books, both fiction and nonfiction, on the table. Of the series, you go to the front of the room and begin your introduction. On behalf of the Loudoun County Public Library, I would like to welcome viewing and discussion program in our series, Latino Americans, 500 Years of History. This series and other programming through 2016 are made possible through a grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities and the American Library Association. Loudoun Library was the only public library in the state of Virginia to receive the award. Latino Americans, 500 Years of History is a public rich and varied experiences of Latinos who have helped shape the United States over the last 5 centuries and who have become, with more than 1 million people, the country's largest minority group. The cornerstone of this series of programs we will be presenting is the viewing and series. Our scholar, Dr. Baer, is a professor of history at Northern Virginia Community College in Alexandria. He is a fellow at the Council of Hemispheric Affairs in Washington, D.C., and he is currently working on a study of Cuba and their relationship with the U.S. Tonight's schedule is that we will take a short break to read after the viewing of the film and have some really interesting conversation with Dr. Baer. If you are not familiar with the library, the restroom to the right of the meeting room as you exit into the hallway, and please enjoy the coffee and refreshments provided by Mi Casita Bakery. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Baer. At this point, the scholar will introduce the series for the evening and provide other interesting facts about his career. Then present the film, which will show perfectly. At the conclusion of the film, the audience will be invited to take a short break and return for the discussion. At the conclusion of the discussion, you will once again address the audience. Thank you for attending tonight's program. Please fill out the application form, and if you are receiving CEU units, please take the form to the back of the room for Dr. Baer's signature. We thank you for coming, and if you leave a reminder of the next session, which will be on Wednesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m., please leave your email address on the form on the table. If you have registered on sign-up, we will remind you of the program. Once again, thank you to NEH and ALA for making the evening. Join us on Saturday for Mariachi's Los Amigos. Thank you. Are there any questions?
When Linda approached me about leading discussions on the video series on Latinos, I said yes because I enjoy working with community groups. At the Alexandria campus of Northern Virginia Community, we have a group of lifelong learners called the Naturals. When I talk with them about issues in Latin America, I get questions and comments that are very perceptive and sometimes quite challenging. I think the discussion about Latinos in America is lively because members of the audience have such varied backgrounds and experiences. Talking with a community group is very from the format of a class where I'm the teacher, and I find that I can learn much from this exchange of ideas. The PBS series and saw that there were 8 episodes all told, covering Latinos from the beginning of the Spanish colonization of the Americas to the 21st century. After reviewing the episodes, I chose 3 because they themes that I think are relevant to our experiences today. That of immigration, assimilation, identity. The episodes that I chose begin with number 2, called Empire of Dreams. This is Cubans, Puerto Ricans, and Mexican immigration around the turn of the 20th century, and the link to U.S. foreign policy. These 3 groups remain very important parts of the Latino community to this very day. Episode 4 is called The New Latinos, and it focuses on the middle of the 20th century. Cubans escaping communism, Puerto Ricans leaving the island because of economic underdevelopment, and Dominicans fleeing political violence. Stories of individuals help us see the struggles of adapting to a new country. The last episode, called Peril and Promise, was number 6 out of the 8. It looks at the end of the 20th century, increasing numbers of spring resentment in Miami. Central Americans caught up in struggles flee for safety, while Mexican Americans in the United States seek justice through organization. Members of these Latino community groups are searching for within American society. I chose questions that I hope will be open enough to allow participants the opportunity to express their feelings about the experiences of these groups, as well as how their story is similar to or different from other immigrant groups. So I asked questions about what makes Latino and what we understand by that term Latino, the issue of race as well as language, the idea of the political goal and foreign policy and how that affects these countries and leads to some immigration. Hoping that people will be able to use this as a basis, but at the same time hoping that people will have their own questions and will start a good and discussion. The things that I want to be aware of will be that we don't just see this history of Latino groups, but try to understand more, not only about this group, but about the country. I'm aware of letting the participants know that their views are respected, and I want to make sure that no one person dominates the conversation. But of course, the point is to enjoy the experience of learning and sharing. Lainey, back to you.
Okay, James, if you could just click, there we go. Okay. So thank you to Linda. Someday I hope I can take a trip to Loudoun County Public Library to see some of your programs in person because you all do such great work. Before we open the floor for questions, I would point out just a few other resources that are available to support your film program's 500 initiative. First up on the screen, there's a link to a how-to guide for film viewing discussion. This is something that the ALA Public Programs Office staff put together to it includes a checklist for you to work from on the day of the program to make sure your I's dotted and T's crossed. There is a standard program outline that tells you about how many minutes to spend on each component of a typical program. There's a bulleted list of scholar responsibilities for those of you who may be new to working with a scholar so that you can be very clear in terms of what you'll expect from them during the series. And then we have a suggested list of do's and don'ts for scholars and their moderators, and that really gets at the work of dealing with. Next, we have resources online that will help you with the value of each one of your film viewing and discussion events. These are Word doc formats, so you can use them. You can use them exactly as they appear, or you can modify them for your own local events to meet your own evaluation needs. One form is for scholars. This is something to your scholar after every discussion event to collect feedback on how things went and make sure that you adjust doing additional programs. The second evaluation form is for program attendee. We also recommend that you share some survey like this after every event that you convene. Some suggestions for those of you who are the main contact for your LA 500. The ALA final report, which is an online report, we encourage you to either save these evaluations in an Excel document and upload them as part of your final, or just scan an entire stack and you can upload those documents to the ALA final report. Our Apply grant management system will keep a record of everything that you've done, not just for LA, for any and all grant-related activities that you complete with the Public Programs Office. So you will have a type of your work, and you'll be able to access that with an internet connection wherever you are. We ask you to use the description area in the final report for each one of the programs to tell us about. You can describe the conversations that took place in your program. You can talk to us a bit about audience demographics, especially those of you who don't necessarily collect demographic information. Details about that, as well as the audience attendance figures you can record there. Information that comes in through the description field will allow us to work with evaluators, look at some outcome issues based on that information. And we also consider closing sessions with a single reflective question and summarize that conversation report in the description section. A question as simple as, what did you gain from our time together today? Can add those outcome-based questions. Additional resources, we have the Latino Americans series guide. That is a page interactive PDF that you can download or use in your web browser. Contents offers an outline, a more detailed outline of each episode in the series, and then entries are linked to a longer description later on in the document, and that is codes so that you can easily access that content in the DVD, and it also includes links to view relevant video clips. And as the bullets on screen show here, episode teasers are included. You can use those for promotional purposes to draw people to your event, to talk about what they will expect when they come to the program. This document can also be useful for scholars who are planning programs or developing their discussion points so they can have a good job in terms of the content in the episode. And they're also useful to prepare follow-up collection material to pull things together that are topically related to the series that you've shown. Finally, it includes a 500-year historical timeline at the very end of it that's several pages long, and it's for your audiences and your scholars to refer to. And then last but not least, we have a webinar, which is also about film programming, how-to best practices sort of thing. And that uses Ken Burns' The Civil War documentary as an example. There is a link to that webinar here, and you can hear more. It's about a 1-hour-long webinar, and it is free to download. We would love to hear from you in terms of what else you need or what else would be useful to you from ALA and NEH. We will be sending around an email after the session today with a link to a survey. Please do take just a few minutes to share your feedback with us, and be sure to tell us of anything else that you would like to hear about. You can also contact us at publicprograms.ala.org with those questions privately or as needs arise. We encourage you to ask questions of your colleagues in our email discussion forum. And finally, today, we hope that you can use this forum to pose any additional questions that you have about implementing your film discussion programs. So with that, I will open the chat area for you to pose any questions that you have for Linda. It looks like maybe a question or two is coming in, but I just want to point out that there is contact information on speakers. They invite you to direct your questions to them via email if you are interested in doing that. And again, I thank Linda and Dr. Baer for joining us today, and thank the National Endowment for the Humanities for supporting the LA 500 initiative. Thank you for joining us today. We'll just leave this space open and the presenters will hang around for another few minutes in case there are questions. Thank you. Hi, Elena. I will post a link momentarily into the chat so that you can click that to get straight to the PDF. Leave open in your web browser, and then you can have an option to download it. So just a moment with that. It looks like you didn't miss it. We somehow left the presentation. That was my fault. We'll go ahead and add that in so that it appears as a download option in the PowerPoint when we send around the link to the archive. Thank you for asking.